I know our themes music so much because I use it for everything.
Yeah,
Um,
it's real, like it's like driving hard beats.
It's a good theme
Very
song, I think. Yeah.
I just think we come up with a new one.
Hey, this is it. I'm gonna edit this out.
Wait, that's Rage.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get a copyright strike based on our mouth
Our
riffs of
mouth
rage.
our mouth noises. Oh. Yeah,
All right,
that's pretty good.
everybody, you might hear this as our new theme music on a future episode,
Yeah,
but
it's just gonna us wailing, do it.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if it works. I'm gonna try to match my audio of the boom, 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 boom. We'll see if it works. So anyway, I don't feel like we have to say this anymore, but usually these videos or these podcasts nowadays are better on video. So we are going to look at some of the
I
Criterion
mean,
announcements. I
but look
know.
at this though. This is really what people are here for.
Yep, our
It's
faces.
not. It's like right here, the moneymaker, right here,
That's right.
right?
And sometimes our faces look super freaky just because of the software we use.
That's
Your
right.
Jill eyes are that, I mean that's the price of admission right there, or that's that's the value you get from being a subscriber to Criterion's, but it's really the Jill eyes is
But
why you're.
really, it's this. Well, one time I had a doctor, years ago, ask me if I had a thyroid condition because of my eyes. What's funny is I actually do have something going on with my thyroid now, but like 20
Yeah,
something years
I
ago.
do
And so
too.
she was like looking at my eyes, and I was like
Yeah.
intentionally bugging them out at her. So
Was it a palm reader? It's like okay, or a
but
tarot
see,
card.
now you get the
Uh,
like, what are those, the children of the damned or whatever? Like
oh
now
yeah,
I have
yeah,
those
yeah.
like black eyes.
Yeah. Hey, well,
Yeah.
and there is an emoji on our Discord that is I forget what it, but if you're
It's
around enough on our Discord, it's a good one.
it's pretty much this. But anyways, this is what you guys come here for. It's this, and
Yes, yes.
but we've got criterions, Aaron.
We do have criterions,
Imagine that.
and we have the announcements, and we'll get right to those. But I do
Yes.
want to mention one thing first is that I'm going to share so audio people will not hear this. I don't think you've seen this movie, but IndieWire got the scoop that Flow,
Yeah.
which is huge, huge film, and it really the first of these Janus contemporaries to really make a mark, get some awards attention, get some love. I mean, it could win some Oscars. So,
Mhm.
so
This
this
is
is
written by Christian Blauvelt. I know him. He's a good guy.
Oh, okay. Well, yep. Maybe we'll get him on. But and the director, I don't know how to pronounce it, is so awesome. And I'll just say that my wife has trouble with movies with animals in danger. I'm not sure. Let's close this ad. I'm not sure if you do, but that's basically the
Yeah, I do.
premise of this movie is this cat right here is really in it's a survival movie, but it was really really tough for Andrea to watch, and she actually watched it while I was in town, with you in Atlanta, and
Hmm.
she said she could not have watched it with me because she was a
Hmm.
mess, but she ended up loving it. Like this fake cat here, she she will go to the ends of the earth to defend this,
Yep.
save this fake
So yeah,
pixel.
this is getting yeah. So there was talk that this was going to be a Janus Contemporary, but it's getting us fine.
Yeah,
And but it's currently streaming on Max, which I know that there's some
yeah,
conflicted feelings about that. But
I get that.
it's
Yeah,
I but I and I understand that, but I do think that um I think there was actually somebody on our Facebook group that said that anytime that animation is getting a wide audience, that can't be a bad thing, and I agree with that.
I think
So,
so
and
too.
honestly, there's so much trash on Max that if anytime they add something that's good, I'm like, okay,
I
let's fight.
know.
Because whatever that show was that I told you I was watching, where it's like a British game show where the contestants pick who they want to get with based on
Right, right,
seeing their
right.
naked body, and it's like, okay, well,
Yeah, and I'm sharing right now the Janus Contemporaries that have made it to disc, and it's a
Yeah.
pretty good list of films, but there's not a breakthrough like Flow. There have been a couple
No.
that did well. I think the Ryuichi Sakamoto did pretty well. Lynch
Mhm.
Oz, of
So did,
course, last
No
summer.
Bears.
No Bears, yeah. Evil Does Not Exist. Oh, EO did very well.
EO.
The
Yeah.
Beast, the Beast. I think probably of this entire list, maybe a Fire too, but I think the Beast is probably the one I would have said more likely to hit the collection. But no, Flow, and I'm glad. I mean, I love animation films, and I love seeing them in the collection. So it's a win-win in my
Yeah.
book. And we get
Anytime
some,
we get more animation go disc, thank you, is
yeah,
a good thing.
great. And it's
As
not Disney or what, yeah.
as GDT said, I'm going to horribly paraphrase him, but animation is cinema. So,
Oh, totally, yeah.
that's exciting. And yeah, anything that's not Disney is like such a great thing. So,
Yeah. So and there have been some questions about the so Stephen Rails, Indian Paintbrush billionaire, now
mhm.
owns it. I'm just gonna I'm gonna Google in another tab. Stephen Rails net worth.
We're
Um,
not big fans of billionaires on this podcast, but if those billionaires happen to invest into
if
bringing cinema to physical media, then
yeah,
we
if
we'll withhold the guillotine. I'm
we're not gonna
joking.
say
I'm
more
joking.
billionaires go Criterion, thank you, but more
No.
billionaires get more movie Criterion, thank you is yeah, I can maybe get on board with that. He's worth 8.2 billion. Those are
Oh my
never really
God.
worthwhile. Yeah, it's an insane amount of money. So, but and I don't want to say, hey, billionaires are awesome, but we might be seeing some of the fruits of that, for lack of a better term, some more investment. That's really the last couple of years is when they really started to acquire films. And as you know, I'm working on A24, and I'm looking at other labels or boutique companies that are acquiring films at festivals. And Janus is now a pretty big player in that space. So
Mhm.
it's
I'm just
so yeah,
hoping that Stephen Rails, will take some of that fortune of his and make sure that like Blu-ray and 4K players are still being produced. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
great point. That's a great point. I mean, who's gonna fill that space? I actually, well, the thing is, if the big, the Sonys and the Panasonics, or yeah, I think there's the two big ones remaining. If
Mhm.
they stop, now the other news, yeah, it's concerning when anybody stops making anything that plays what we love. But as long as there's somebody in that space, I
Yeah.
don't think like LG made. I don't think they sold a whole lot, and that's probably why they got out of the market because I don't think they were competing.
Right.
But but I mean, we are an indie company, a DIY company, and we're making stuff. So now we're
Right.
not going to make. I don't know. Maybe we should make 4K players. What do you think, Jill?
Oh my God. But maybe Criterion can
You
do
didn't even consider it.
what the video stores used to do is, you could go rent the player and it would come in that case, put
So you
down a
can.
deposit.
So I have the first title that is an upgrade of In the Heat of the Night.
Yep.
So if I order this 4K, a player will come with it.
Yeah, and you can borrow it for like, I don't know, 7 days and then return
Maybe
it.
if you order so much in the flash sale, oh my God, there'd be so many broken
I
players
know.
in the
But
world.
no, seriously, if anybody of any importance, you're all important. But I mean like significance in this world where you have
Mhm.
the money and the pull. For real, you need to be
Yeah,
investing your money into making sure that we have the equipment to play this stuff.
that's something
I'm not
we'll be
totally
watching. Yeah.
I'm not totally worried because look at what happened with vinyl. I mean, you've got
Hmm.
people that were like, they weren't even a twinkle in their parents' eye, when vinyl was gone and they were like buying it and, at Target
Yeah.
or whatever. So I think I'm not worried. There's always going to be a market, I think, for this. And so the weird people will still have the stuff.
Hmm.
But Stephen Rails and other, benevolent billionaires, let's keep manufacturing these players.
Yeah, well, I have an Oppo, player that is amazing, and Oppo's been out of business, I don't know what, 5 years now, and it still
Yeah,
works like a charm. That's the thing. They're so good that they don't have that I'm gonna use the word planned obsolescence, and I'm not accusing
right.
anybody of doing this. Apple.
Mm. Oh,
Uh,
geez.
yeah, but yeah, that if you're not buying something new or upgrading something new, I do get, if it's a once and done. But the thing is, furniture companies, yeah, how often do you replace your bed? I think you're supposed to replace it like every 10 years, but do you think really people really do that?
Who says every 10 years? It's the mattress companies.
It's the mat. Oh yeah, it's
That
big
is right.
mattress,
A
big
big
mattress.
mattress. Well, this
So
is big,
big
Chris,
Jewison.
big,
And that's
big Jewison.
Norman Jewison,
Yes, the
yes. So,
best.
yes, the
Um,
best, and Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger also, among the best, tremendous actors. I mean, I think and so this is In the Heat of the Night. This is coming out May 6th on 4K.
yeah,
This
this
is
is a great upgrade um, and timely for many reasons, but also the fact that Quincy Jones just passed, and
yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like a good upgrade to be making right now, and I'm sure it's gonna look incredible. I actually don't own this,
Oh, great.
so,
I mean, great because, yeah,
yeah,
you would benefit from this. I
um,
do own the
so
Blu-ray. Yeah, so I won't be buying it, but I would advocate if you don't have the movie like you, Jill,
right.
well, and you've seen the movie, I'm sure, and you know
Oh,
its
I have.
history.
Yeah.
A and it's a interesting history, and I do remember they touched on this, and I love there's a Quincy Jones special feature supplement,
Mhm.
but they also talk about, Poitier and, his I'm going to use the word terms, but it's really his negotiations for making the
Right.
movie. Is that um, so? The reality is this was during the civil rights era, yeah, close to it at least, and you didn't have African Americans playing detectives. And if I remember, there was controversy; they couldn't screen this in some parts of the country
Right.
because of this. But it's also just Poitier and Steiger are. They play off each other so well. Poitier is really the straight man. And Steiger, of course, we all know, or maybe not everybody, but he's very well known as one of the great method actors. So yeah, and it's also just a well done film. It's an interesting
Yeah.
story. It's
And this
compelling. Yeah.
this came out the year before MLK's assassination,
Yep.
and let me get this right, when Malcolm X was
Um,
murdered.
in that, yeah, within a couple of years, I think. Was it 69?
He was assassinated in 65. So this is
Oh,
actually
65. Okay, yeah.
so this was, so this is like peak,
Hmm.
tensions.
Yeah.
And so for that, I mean, honestly, and this is one of those movies. I think a lot of the movies of this time period that are addressing racial injustice,
Hmm.
they don't get a fair shake now, because a lot of people look at them and they say, well, this it's so dated, or
Yeah.
or maybe it's like a little on the nose. But I think this film, I think you really do have to take yourself, I mean, if you didn't live during that, it's hard,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
you have to really put your mind the best that you can. And that's why the supplements here are so important too,
Hmm.
especially for a movie like this. Anytime you're watching, and everybody that listens to this show or is on calls with Sin Journeys, having context is for all of these movies, but
Yeah.
especially something like this is so important, because I've heard people criticize it and say, well, it's a little bit too this. And I'm going, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Shit was bad in 1967.
Shit
So
was bad.
having that context and seeing how, like, Sidney Poitier, spoiler alert, slapping that white man.
Right.
I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that was,
They didn't. I mean, like I'm gonna
he would have
cite
been killed
Haley
for that.
Gisbert. You
You
can't
know,
do
in
that. I can't
no,
do it
in
in
real
Heidi Gardner's
in
voice.
if he
But
had
you're right. He would have
if
gotten
he had
killed.
done, I mean, he would have been murdered for that.
Mhm.
So to put that on the screen, that was just beyond, I think just really ahead of its time. So
I
anyways,
agree. Well, it is hard to transition from racial tension and murder to this French singing film about
oh God,
umbrellas. And look at this cover. And by the way, we didn't
it's
comment on the
gorgeous.
cover of In the Heat of the Night. It's the same cover.
Yeah,
So
but this
this
is stunning. This cover is
Jacques Demy,
stunning.
yeah,
Now,
the
this has
umbrellas of
not
Cherbourg.
been has this been released on its own? It hasn't. It was just part of
Not
the
It was
Demi
part to me
box set.
set, yeah, and I
Yeah.
did see somebody asked, "Hey, is it worth getting the box set?" And first off, I would say yes, because it's an amazing
Mhm.
box set. I mean,
Mhm.
frankly, I don't wanna shame anybody, but you shoulda had it already. It's one of the
No,
best in the
it's
collection.
no, that's a must-have. But I'm
But
gonna
the thing
drop a bomb. Can I drop a bomb here?
drop a bomb, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of this. I
Okay, I didn't
mean,
hear that.
I'm not a
I
huge fan of this movie because I whispered
I
it,
was
but
lying, I did hear it, I was forgetting.
you're making me say it louder. No, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful film.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
I have a confession, Jill. I hated this movie when I first saw it. It was the second viewing that I fell in love with it, and when I say I
yeah,
fell in love, like, madly in love. It's tough to get on its wavelength, and I hate to make the analogy because of the time, but Amelia Perez. So you haven't seen it yet, but I see a lot of Cherbourg and Amelia Perez. They sing, talk a lot.
yeah,
It does not work for me at least. It does not work in Amelia Perez. Does not work for a lot of people. I think that was influenced by this in the
yeah.
wrong ways.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
yeah,
love musicals and this is like I mean, this is a musical. I mean, it is
mhm.
top to bottom. It
Oh
is
yeah,
all like as
100%.
you said, it's all sung. Um, and I've seen it several times
Oh wow, okay.
and it is stunning and I it but it um it's just it's a beautiful film and it is a masterpiece and it is a classic. I don't I
It's
don't
not for
love it.
everybody. Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, it's not for
but I
everybody.
also I appreciate it, you know, and I have friends that's like one of their favorite movies ever.
Hmm.
It's just not my style. But I cannot I am saying it is a
Hmm.
stunning film. So if you don't have it, I could only I mean, I think the box set is worth, but it makes me think that
Yeah.
they may be releasing this in 4K at some point. Um, but
So that was the question somebody asked, and I'm just looking at the box set now. So Lola is a great film, but the transfer's
yeah,
not great. So I don't know if the materials would justify
it may not.
4K.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Bay of Angels, I don't know. I mean, I think it would look great on in 4K, but I don't know if it's popular enough for a standalone. Now, The Young Girls of Rochefort, I think that's almost a guaranteed, assuming there's a restoration out there. There was a
This is a great film. I actually
Yeah.
I like it better.
Yeah, well, this is a
Um,
if you like the MGM musicals, I mean, this is, I mean, it had
right,
actually Gene Kelly, so,
right.
in a great role. Yeah, I love this movie too, but I could see that. Now Donkey Skin, do not
Oh my
expect
god.
Donkeys I mean, part of me would I mean, like, if all right, if you're gonna do Donkey Skin in 4K, give us some more extras, like a
Yeah,
John Waters
yeah.
commentary. I don't know if
Right,
John Waters likes this film, but I can't see him not liking this film.
right,
And
right.
Shamra Unville, I would say nope. But this is
Yeah,
a good. He has his multiverse, and so
yeah.
Lola starts it, and Cherbourg is part of it. So
But the
that
box set is beautiful. It is beautifully put
yeah,
together. But if you just want to like,
look at this.
dabble,
Hmm.
then I honestly think I mean, as being someone that appreciates Cherbourg but is not a huge fan of it, I would say get the 4K, because I have actually seen that film, restored on, I'm pretty sure it was the 4K restoration of it years ago, and it is incredibly beautiful. So I can only imagine, that
Yeah,
that'll be a stunning release.
yeah, and it is a really beautiful movie. To your point, and it'll look amazing. So the question again is, will I upgrade it when I already have the
Yeah.
box? And no, the answer is no.
Yeah.
It looks fine enough in Blu-ray for me,
Right.
but
Right.
again, if I didn't have the box, I would get
Right.
it. Now, would I get a Region B version? There probably is one, or there may
Well,
be
if there
one
was
coming out.
enough extra specials or something that,
Mhm. If you have like
but
6 supplements with John Waters talking about, I don't. I'm just making up John. I mean,
I
John
love
Waters
that
is
you're
my
like
go-to.
really trying to bring John Waters into the
I love him in everything.
universe.
Like anything John Waters does,
Yeah.
talks about, I am there for. I would just pay to sit in his house and listen to him, have breakfast. That's how much I love John Waters. I mean, I love his films, but I love him as a person. He's just
Right.
I love his perspectives. So those are the first two upgrades. We have a new film by Abbas Kiarostami, The Wind Will Carry
Mhm.
Us, or a new film to Criterion. Now, this one was
Right.
actually out. Who I think Cohen Media Group had this because, and I think I
This
own
seems
it.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's finally coming to Criterion. Now, there were a lot of Kinos that went out of print, and we're seeing those. In fact,
Mhm.
In the Heat of the Night was one of those because
Yep.
Kino did a
I
4K of
actually
that.
have that Kino.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you're not
Yeah.
upgrading. I
No,
don't.
I mean, I probably will, but, yeah, I just remembered, "Oh, yeah, I have the Kino of that."
Yeah. So I'm actually I'm not going to compare the features, but I'm sure they're a little different. But this is a new film, so we have. So first off, do you know much of Kiarostami's? Have you seen
I
Touch a Chair?
I
What's up?
No, but this is one of those filmmakers that I've had on my list of need to need to dive into, so that's kind of a blind spot for me.
So, well, I'm just thinking off the top of my head of experts, and I thought of Sheila O'Malley. First off, let me see, is she on
She
the release?
so No, but
Well, I know
Sheila
she's an expert in
such a
Iranian cinema.
yeah, she is such a champion of Iranian cinema and really, was, following the imprisonment of,
Yeah, Nahi.
Panahi, and has, really been she's written so much about Iranian cinema, and so that's really kind of what has,
Mhm.
piqued my interest in it. And it's just a matter of setting aside the time. So I'm really excited about this, and honestly, just getting as many eyes on this as possible is so important.
Well,
These
I'm a big fan.
filmmakers, I
Yeah.
mean, these filmmakers have been challenging, uh, you know, uh, the regime and
Mhm.
putting their entire lives on the line to tell their stories, and I think that is incredible.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't think this is as challenging as other films, as some of Panahi's films. Of course,
No,
the
but I mean,
21st century ones. Yeah.
just telling story. I mean, just having
Mm.
the freedom of telling or making art is
Yeah.
really what I'm talking about here.
And
Art without
Kiarostami
interference.
Kiarostami would be an amazing journey. So you do the Road trilogy, and those are all breezy. Well, I say breezy. It's for for Kiarostami. It's not exactly Barbie or something like that.
Right.
But and this Taste of Cherry there and Certified Copy. There's so many great ones. But so we have some
Mhm.
supplements. Oh, so there's a documentary about the making of the film called A Week with Kiarostami. So I was talking about a week with John Waters, which I would prefer to be an actual week, not an hour.
Mhm.
But I'll take an hour of Kiarostami. 2002 interview. So this is certified copy. I think was his next film. So that was probably around the
And I
time he.
lied. I've seen Certified Copy, so I have seen a
Okay.
Kiarostami film.
Certified copy is kind of a departure from. And I would say this is almost like the last of a certain style of film
Mhm.
that like his '90s style. And
Right.
as it says here in the description, self-reflexive. So that self-reflexive commentary was a big part of all of his early work and some of his later work too. So new video essay, Masuma Lahiji. Ligia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, a longtime translator and creative collaborator of the directors. Awesome. So this
That's
is a
cool.
essay about his poetry, and that's the thing is he was kind of an artistic journeyman. He's kind of like a lot of great directors we know. It's not their only art. So some will like
Right.
paint, write. Even though he's a troubling person, I would think like Pasolini. Has 5 different creative outlets that he was an expert in. New subtitle translation, so I think that's actually cool. I don't remember
Hmm.
the subtitles being bad in the last one, um, but and then there's an essay by Kavi Akbar. I don't know him yet, so I'll have to add him to my essayist list on Blue Sky if he has an account there. But
Right.
I am looking forward to this one, and I will. This will be a right and player for a rewatch, unless we do a journey. I don't know. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that I know some people. Okay, here we go, Jill.
All right.
Speaking of a journey, Bruce Robinson.
So,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
let's just say that Aaron and I, starting last year, were talking about
Yeah.
possible journeys for cine journeys, and I said, hey, I want to do one on handmade films because they did some great stuff, and that was George Harrison's movie studio
Hmm.
that kind of came out of him wanting to see the life of Brian get made. That's how this all
Hey.
came. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, listen, so Aaron and I have been talking about like what all we're going to program and like what's going to be available and all this. And what's funny is we had to get ahead in advertising and with Neil and I on the list, and then like boom, they
We were
released this.
looking, and I
Yep.
and I actually messaged you, and
Yeah.
I think the wording I used was, "OMG, Jill, look Criterion's,"
Yep.
because I could
So
just.
getting a pair of Bruce Robinson films is so good, and both star Richard E. Grant, which
Oh, I
for
love
those
him
of
so
you
much.
that only know him from um
Game of Thrones.
well, I was the
Was
movie
he
he
in
was
Harry Potter's?
no, I
Oh,
don't know if he was
uh,
in Harry Potter.
he was nominated for something recently.
For
I forget.
for the movie with
He was great in
oh
that.
my god, what
It was Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Can You Ever Forgive Me? He's fantastic in that. But real ones know he was making some weird shit in the 80s.
Look at this
So
cover. Look at this
I
cover.
I love it. It's so good. He
It
is
is so.
insane in both of these movies.
He's kind of. I think he's either insane or just really good at. He's just so has so much magnetism.
Yeah,
Like he's a scene stealer, even in supporting roles. Everything he is in, he steals scenes. He's just so photogenic. So we have
yeah,
so this is an illustration by Jackson Northon. So yes, this is not a steal from the film.
no,
This is somebody right. Oh man, I can imagine how much fun they had drawing this. And look,
right.
there's a look at this little thing in his
I
chest
know.
there.
It's the
Oh,
boil.
it's the boil, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in a body order thanks to the substance, there's a little bit of that too. So,
What yeah, I'm love this new documentary with Robinson and
mhm,
Grant is gonna be so good, and also,
definitely.
David, Cairns,
Yeah,
he's fantastic, so we've
he
got
is.
that
He
going.
he's done a lot of essays, and they're all great. It's only Blu-ray, and so
Yeah.
but and you know what? Thank you. If it doesn't need a 4K,
Well,
eh,
the thing
I don't know
is also
it's a 2K.
the elements may not be there, and so just to head off any,
Mhm.
complaints about that, not everything needs 4K. So
Not
just a
everything, yeah.
reminder, everything needs 4K. And
2K digital restoration
as
would be
somebody
worthless.
who is clamoring for like, lost in rights dispute early Paramount precodes, I will take a DVD of like
Right.
sometimes we just need the movie. And so
Just
I
need the
know
movie,
there's
yeah.
probably going to be murmuring somewhere out there about that this doesn't have a 4K, but hush, Blu-ray is great.
Yeah, and this is one that hasn't been out. I don't think
Right.
this has been out for a while. I know there's
And
been Region B
no.
releases, but those make sense because this is an English movie. So, so this is a big deal. 4K,
Exactly.
Blu-ray, DVD. You're right. If anything, and if I were to complain, and I complain about complainers, but
Yeah.
I would like a little more. But let's see what we have on the next
I
one.
agree. I agree. It is a little light on the features.
Hmm.
But the new documentary, who knows? Maybe that's
Yeah,
really great.
could be five
And
hours.
it
Who
looks
knows?
like, do we have a commentary?
No commentary. Just at least on
Ugh.
this one.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not
Mhm.
busting at the seams, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
And Jill and I just presented an award for Shelf Shock, and the category we were giving, which I was very proud to get, was best
Mhm.
commentary. And we spent a minute. Well, that's a whole other story. We can talk
Yeah.
about it some, but we get talked about the greatness of commentaries, and I do wish there were more. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to say shout out to Sean Baker for
But
putting two.
I will say too, just and just as an aside,
Hmm.
about the commentary thing is that I do know how much work goes into it, and I do
Yeah.
know to get quality commentary, you gotta pay for it. So, to
Hmm.
be honest, if they can't get the right people in there to do it, if they can't, if the resources aren't there, then I'd rather them not do it at all. Like
Yeah.
I don't want lousy commentary. I don't want somebody to go, "Ooh," like
Right. Right. Oh,
unless
look at
it's
this.
like
Yeah.
Kurt Russell and John Carpenter laughing for like 2 hours, I don't want to.
Yeah,
Now,
I could see a commentary. So I'm now on Withnell and I from
yeah.
1987, often
Oh my
mispronounced, but
god.
with Nail and I. What is this? No, his name is
Withnell.
Withnell. This was a DVD. So this is a DVD to 4K and blue.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Now,
uh,
there was an Arrow,
there was, yeah,
release
and I
of
have that one.
this, and I have that too. But this will be a day one purchase for me, along with How to Get Ahead in Advertising. But, um, I love this movie. What's funny is, and then we will be talking about this
We
on
will.
our journey later this year, but, this movie gets, a lot of like, people are like, "Oh my god, it's so hilarious." And yes, there
It's
are some
yeah.
really, really funny moments, but it's also deeply fucking depressing. And,
Yes. It's about alcoholism, and
it's about
there are
addiction.
highs and lows. Yeah, yeah.
It's about someone literally drinking themselves to death. And,
Mhm.
yeah. But this is stacked. I'm loving,
Yeah.
what we have here, although I don't have any comparison with the Arrow release to see what's new here.
So, the Arrow release, came out in, uh, it's not been too long, so I know that the Arrow release has a commentary with Bruce Robinson, so I'm
Yeah,
guessing that they got the same commentary. So, because
yeah,
there are 2 commentaries, so there's
right.
one from 2020 with Robinson, and the, one from 2001 with,
I
actors
love
Ralph
Paul
Brown
McGann.
and Paul
He
McGann.
needs to
Yeah.
be in more. I love him so much. Oh my
This was
god.
probably on the DVD, but I haven't watched that commentary, so
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that. But there are new things, so new short program featuring Robinson.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're disappointed by the number of supplements on the other, makes up for it here. So with Nolan Us, I've seen this documentary. It's been a
Yeah,
while, so I don't mind watching it again. But it's a documentary about the making of the film, and then there's a BFI Q&A from 2017. So this is new to the
yeah.
Criterion. Let me see if that's on the Arrow. Um, I don't see it. So this might be new to. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another commentary from somebody that worked with the BFI on the Arrow disc. So and then a stills gallery, which I didn't know they still did those, but
I didn't either.
I
Maybe
mean,
it might be from the DVD.
yeah, Ralph Steadman. So that's yeah. Yeah,
I
stills
love a good
galleries.
stills gallery.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing is, like, when you can make the joke, it could have been an email or it could have been a web page with all these stills nowadays, but I do have fond memories of clicking all the
I mean,
stills on my Blu-ray player.
there is a nostalgia with
Yeah,
that, like, especially, like, the old Notorious DVD, you know?
yeah,
They
yeah.
have all the stills, and I would just be like and it take forever to load, you know? It's sweet.
And and we have 2 more, and so another product of maybe there being deeper products or pockets is the second time in a row we've had 7 titles, and
Yeah,
so, yes, 3 of them are upgrades if you count Withnell, so 2 Blu-ray, 1 DVD upgrade, but we do have 4 new titles, so if that's a trend, I'm down with that, 'cause, so getting some more movies.
now, this one I'm really excited about. This is the Three Musketeers, Four Musketeers, and I'm
Richard
sure this
Lester.
is gonna be discussed, at some point during the special features, but just for anybody who doesn't know, this movie actually was, a huge part of, um, labor rights with actors because
Huh,
Richard Lester basically filmed when they were filming The Three Musketeers, filmed enough stuff to cut a second like, they made a second movie out of it.
that's crazy.
Um, and but, like, one production. So, it's a whole thing with this movie, but the production surrounding this movie is fucking hilarious. Um, if you look at who's in this movie, you
Oh
see
my
why.
word. I mean, so and they put the actors in the cover on the cover. They don't always do that, but Oliver
Mhm.
Reed, Raquel Welch, Richard Chamberlain, Michael York, Frank Finley, Christopher Lee, Geraldine Chaplin, Simon Ward, Faye Dunaway, and Charlton Heston. I mean,
Faye Dunaway.
that's
Listen,
in the
also, let me tell
70s.
you that during the film in the '70s, during the filming of this, Oliver Reed was at his peak
Yes.
Oliver Reediest, and
I
at
love me some
one
Oliver
point during
Reed.
the production, he got so shit-faced
Mhm.
that they found him inside the aquarium at the hotel they were staying in. He was in it.
I mean,
So
so yeah, we just talked about Withnell. Oliver Reed did have a pretty big drinking problem, and
he did.
the thing is, he could act through it. I mean, he was
Mhm.
probably plastered this entire movie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know a late
Him and
movie.
Richard Chamberlain, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it
Oh, I'll
was
bet they
a,
drank together. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I credit to him for being able to pull it off.
And, man,
But yeah, he
David
was.
Cairns has got 3 releases this month.
I
I
know.
mean, this is
Wow.
fantastic.
Big month for David, yeah. So yeah, 2 4K discs. Let me look at the
Yeah,
MSRP. So it's a $70 MSRP,
yeah.
discounted on the Criterion site to 55 during a flash sale, which this would probably hit the Barnes and Noble sale first. So that would be 35. So the 35 seems like a pretty good price for these two.
Oh, yeah.
But no commentary again, and that's fine. We have 2 for 1, a new documentary by critic David Cairns, as you mentioned, The Saga of the Musketeers. So this is probably what you're talking about, a 2-part
There's
documentary.
there is so much dirt on this movie. It's so exciting.
I'm sure they uncover some of it in that. And then there's another one, The Making of the Three Musketeers, from 1973, behind the scenes footage. So yeah, we might have our popcorn out for that. Stephanie Zacharek, also another great essay
That's
writer,
fantastic.
is on this release. Matthias Adolfsson did the cover. I love the cover. Now I
I
haven't
think
seen
it's
this.
fun.
I haven't seen either. So yeah, it is
Okay.
fun.
So I had to do a lot of research for these movies because I had to write I wrote some scripts for it for TCM. And so I just had a blast writing about this and
Nice,
researching. So
nice.
lot of fun stuff here.
It looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, this is the big blind spot for me, and this will also go
Yeah.
right in the player. In fact, this is whatever comes out with it. This is going to go first in the player because
Yeah.
this just looks like a ton of fun. So
But the cover is so '70s. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just it's it the movie is such it Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, Faye Dunaway as Lady De Winter is just gotta be the funniest thing ever. So,
And,
anyways,
I think we've been a little spoiled working with Caitlin in that we have been able to see how the sausage is made, for lack of a
right.
better phrasing, about illustrations. So, I'm guessing this font here, the titles,
Mhm,
were probably illustrated. Now, there might be some sort of reference poster or something,
mhm.
but this is really great script, and I
It
just know. Yeah,
it taps into the whole vibe.
yeah.
I just think it's like it's on parchment, because the
Mhm.
edges are kind of like, so it definitely has, and just I don't know, the whole, if you see the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know that the cover fits it.
Yeah,
So it
and
works.
I haven't, but I've seen Richard Lester and, of course, A Hard Day's
Right.
Night. I could almost see this being the 4 Beatles.
Oh my
So,
god.
yeah, yeah, no, that would have been a cover, but,
Oh
of
my
course,
god.
Hard Day's Night is a completely different animal, but, yeah, I can't wait. I'm probably of course, the Robinson movies are the big ones for me this month, but let's end with a
Oh,
massive
this is a
one.
huge one though. This is
Killer of
huge.
Sheep. Now, Charles Burnett, there was a Kino release, I believe, and I think it was
Yes.
DVD only. If I, yeah, so, and it had been the only release for a long, long time. And when we talk about, African American films, Black films, this is basically, well, first off, not just Black films. This is considered one of the greatest films of all time.
Yes. And this
And it,
is a huge centerpiece of the LA Rebellion
yes,
movement, genre, era. This is an absolute, and this is the, Dennis and oh my god, at Milestone Films, they made this possible. They are, I
that's
love,
right. It was Milestone. Yeah, because
it
I
was
actually have
Milestone.
that DVD. Yeah.
They are
In
incredible. They do
fact,
such good work.
they're credited here on the
Yep.
release, so as well as UCLA Film and Television
UCLA.
Archive,
Yeah.
and UCLA does so much too, so
Oh yeah.
I'm just in general, but yeah, this was on the Sight and Sound list, and I forget which place.
Dennis and Amy. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
okay, yeah. No,
Dennis and Amy. They do incredible work at Milestone. So
they've done some great things. Now this is not, this is from '77 when there was still blaxploitation, or '78. Um, Now this is not very much like that. This is very much an artistic film. I think of this having more in common with, like, say, Chantal Akerman
mhm.
than Richard Roundtree, and nothing against Richard Roundtree. Maybe a little bit of Van Peebles, but even more
Well, it's just
avant-garde.
a different
Yeah,
side of
yeah,
that um black cinematic expressionism of the time.
exactly, exactly.
That,
More
and it
Godard,
also shows
actually.
that
Yeah,
there's, well, and it shows too that, like, that the cinema was not a monolith at that time. There were
exactly.
different viewpoints. And this is, and right, that era, it's typically the exploitation films that get the credit,
Hmm.
but this was happening, kind of underground at the time. So
Yeah,
absolutely um
this is my favorite release of the month.
pivotal viewing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
this is a huge film, and this is one where, wow, thank you, Criterion, for
yeah,
existing, for putting this out. And so let's get to the supplements. This time, there is no skimping here.
yeah.
Now there is an audio commentary with Charles Burnett, and by the way, Charles Burnett, this film notwithstanding, phenomenal filmmaker, one of the greats.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear him talk about any movie, but it's with him and film scholar Richard Pena. They don't note a year here on when this commentary was done, so this could be with the Milestone release. Not sure, but it has new interviews with Burnett and actor Henry Gale Sanders. By the way,
Mhm.
new means new to this release, not on the
Right,
Milestone.
right.
A new appreciation by
Barry
filmmaker Barry
Jenkins.
Jenkins. So
Mhm.
I have been writing a book about A24, and I wrote a chapter about Barry Jenkins. And what I said about John Waters also applies to Barry Jenkins in a different way. They're not the
Yeah,
same type of person, but what I loved researching Barry is how much he talks about film, how much he talks about his love of film,
right.
and his
No, he's a
influence.
fan. He's a
He's a
fan
huge fan.
first.
He's
Those are
a
the best
fan first.
filmmakers.
They are,
The
they are.
filmmakers who are weird, they're the ones
Yeah.
that are the best, they get it.
And May 27th, I might have a chance to source this appreciation from Barry in my book. Probably won't be too late. So yeah, thank you, Criterion, for maybe giving me another quote. But there's also two short films, and I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
these were on the milestone release. Several Friends from 1969 and The Horse from 1973. And then an excerpt from the 2010 UCLA Rebellion Oral History Project. That sounds cool. Interview
Yeah.
with Burnett
Jacqueline
and
Stewart.
Jacqueline Stewart, yeah. So, and another one, this is new to this release as well, A Walk with Charles Burnett, 2019
This
by
is
Robert
great.
Townsend. What
That's
a
great.
release. And of course, cast reunion from 2007. The thing is, this film took time to gain in its esteem. So this feels like the right time for this release.
Right.
So
Also, this is interesting. Package design by Slang Incorporated.
yeah,
So I would like to know more about that because I'm actually wondering.
I'm gonna Google them.
Um,
But
yeah,
before I leave this page, I want to mention Danielle Amir Jackson. I'm looking forward
yes,
to her essay as well. So Slang Inc. is a Brooklyn-based studio whose okay, I'm
I was
looking
actually
at the website.
curious if
Oh, interesting.
if
Why Black
this
Music
is a
Matters.
black. I was wondering if this is a black owned business, and it is Julian Alexander.
Yeah, and I'm just scrolling through
So
the work site right now. I'll go to their
that's
work.
actually
Oh wow.
that's that's the first time I've noticed that
Oh,
they've yeah.
they did Tuki Bookie. So yeah, interesting.
So that's really great that they are calling out who is designing the packaging, that it's a black
Yes,
owned business that is doing this. I think that's incredible. And especially now
especially now.
where the work of non-white people of
Hmm.
color is being reduced or eliminated. All
Thank
of
you.
this is and look, we I want to make it abundantly clear that
Hmm.
this kind of statement needs to be applauded because they are saying this is important.
Yeah.
And having a release like this coming out where you have black people
Hmm.
working on the release is so, so important. It's not enough just to make the movie available. You have
It
to
is
have
it is
people.
huge.
So good on Criterion for that.
And I'm just gonna throw in there, I don't wanna sit here DEI hire about this. This is who should be presenting this film. So a company like that. So kudos to Criterion for choosing just great people. I would think that probably Ashley Clark's hand is in this somewhere, and
Absolutely.
he's terrific.
Everything has improved since Ashley Clark was brought on for
Everything.
programming.
Cheers to Ashley
You
Clark.
know,
He is
yeah,
really one of the greats. So I hope to. I've talked to him. We've corresponded, I should say. I've never met him. I think I don't drink much, but I would love to have a beer with him. So, Killer Sheep. So that rounds out
yeah,
the
great
Criterion
month.
slate. What a month! Yeah, I'd say this. I've seen people say these are among the two best months in
Yeah.
history. This is turning out to be a stellar year for Criterion. So cheers to them. So we just did that award show. They won. I think one movie won an award for them during that. I think they're going to be a bigger player. First off, the Sean Baker movies from last month. I think Children Killer Sheep should be in the conversation as well.
I think
So
so.
it's going to get my attention. But yeah, that's Criterion Now. So thanks, Jill, and we will
This
see
was
you
great.
all next time. Yeah, we have some stuff coming, so hold that thought.